in the States, the only time affordable housing gets put up is when the government offers tax credits. Yes. That's the only time.
Great point.
You can't put affordable housing up without tax credits from the government. Okay, you have an interesting article here that how much is that home? 1.1 million? Saw the article too. Yeah. That a $1.1 million home, new construction, 30% of that, almost 30% of that. Is it 30%?
29.25%.
Yeah, so call it 30% of that is fees in order to build that property.
Yeah. So on a $1.1 million home, that's $327,000 in fees that the government is taking.
Yeah. So on that home, if you live in Vancouver, is that Vancouver?
That's Vancouver.
In Vancouver, if your budget is, $800,000 and change, you would be able to afford it if it wasn't for the government.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah. Now, they're the ones coming out and telling you the big talking point right now is affordable housing, affordable housing. And we always say, don't listen to the words. They're on their soapbox. None of their promises come true, or a very small percentage of them. Watch the actions behind the scenes. This is where the middle class gets screwed up, is because they actually listen to the talking points from a news media that's bought.
Yeah. And what's the how much has that increased? It's increased by something like 50%.
Let's go through the article here.
50% over the last. Can you send me that article again? Text me that article. It's been increased by 50% in fees over how long? Only like 3 years, something like that.
So this particular cutout that I have doesn't have it. It doesn't have those stats.
Do you have? Is it a cutout?
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah,
the 49% increase in government fees in 5 years.
5 years.
Our last 2018 study found that the government bite then was 26%, or $220,000 of the total cost of $840,000 to build an 800 square foot condo. So that's why the stuff is so expensive, folks.
There doesn't need to be fees like that. I've done I've in recent time I've tried to do development, and the fees were fucking egregious. In order to develop something of density in our core, downtown core, where our city wants affordable housing.
It's not even one. It's like a mandate.
Yeah, it's like a mandate, and the fucking fees were insane for me to even get approved, right? And it took a year and a half. A year and a half.
Now, you said they don't have to be that high, but let me tell you why they do have to be that high. To pay off all the bureaucrats. Well, to pay for all the bureaucrats that are in the way. The environmental study, the city workers, the 10 different layers of city people you have to go through. The politics, the bureaucracy is so thick and heavy that they've all got to get paid, and that's where the fees come from.
I think it's hilarious because at the end of the day, back when politicians worked for free for the community.
Oh God!
Because they wanted a better community for everyone that lived there. They had regular jobs. They were a regular functioning person of society. Now they're like fucking leeches. They're just fucking
Yeah.
What do they even get paid for? What is that? Why do you need so much of that? It's unreal.
Here's what they do. They get paid to do what they're told from the higher ups. That's it. So it's a disaster. We will continue to pound this point home. Affordable housing is a misnomer. It's never going to happen. Not in our lifetime. Assets will continue to appreciate over time because of the money printing, because of the bureaucracy, because of the only people that are going to build houses are capitalists. Okay, the only way capitalists build houses if it's profitable, because the risk is way too high to do it not profitably. Therefore, you're only going to be building houses for profit. The only way you can make a profit is to build expensive houses.
Well, think about it. In the States, the only time affordable housing gets put up is when the government offers tax credits.
Yes.
That's the only time.
Great point.
You can't put affordable housing up without tax credits from the government.
And here's the thing.
We're talking significant tax credits where those motherfuckers actually sell it off to other companies that like oil companies that profit an immense amount that need the tax credits. That need the tax credits to draw down their taxable income.
Yeah.
So
it's wild.
And that doesn't happen in Canada.
Why?
I don't know why.
I'll tell you why.
Should.
because they hate capitalists. They hate people that make money.
Fair. There you
they
go.
hate it. If they said, hey, we're giving $2.5 million of tax credits to this big time developer,
that is true. We would have a shitstorm.
The middle class would snap.
Yeah.
They would lose their mind. Twitter would blow up. The politicians would never allow it. The politicians hate it. They've all been trained in the socialist educational system of Canada to hate development.
That's a great point.
It will never happen. So those states that's happening are probably the more red states. The Texas is I don't know for sure, but the U.S. is they're going very much more socialist. But
well, look at how unaffordable most blue states are in this. Like the most unaffordable states:
California,
DC, New York.
DC is the capital of the government. Is the White House is there and whatnot. It's like the most unaffordable state because it's all bureaucrats.
Yeah,
like
and even in red states, the cities that are mostly blue are very unaffordable. Now, a lot of people might argue the fact that, well, you have just a significantly higher population in those main cities, but nonetheless, it's still all the same. The policies that get put in place are just horrible.
Yeah.
Like, listen, at the end of the day, when you have a capitalistic free market society, what ends up happening is you encourage more competition, and when you have more competition, you have
prices come down.
Prices come down, and quality increases. So everybody gets cheaper stuff and better quality. That's what happens.
Why do you think the U.S. became the most wealthy country in the world? Like, there's multiple reasons, but it was a free market. It was a very it was a unique idea at the time. Mm-hmm. Nobody else was doing this.
Exactly.
Government steps out of the way. We're here for you. We work for you. We're here to kind of control things at the margins.
People need to.
In the market.
It seems like people forget the fact that the government is supposed to be working for us,
not
against us,
over us,
or not controlling us, not telling us what to do. Yeah. They're not supposed to be doing that.
Yes.
They're supposed to be working for us.
This comes out in so many ways. When you go and you try to do a development, because I'm a citizen too. I don't care if I'm a capitalist or not. I don't care if I'm a developer or not. I'm a citizen of this country. I pay to be here. You work for me. If I go to you and you say, well, you got to pay me $330,000 if you want to do this development, how is that working for me? You know what I mean? In reality, it should be, hey, we're trying to keep these fees low. We're trying to keep this process started. Let's make sure this is beneficial for the community. Okay, we do need housing. How can we make this as easy as possible
But that means you're going to have to let go of,
thousands of jobs.
You're going to have to, the government is our biggest employer in Canada, which is a huge issue.
If you want to
think about
let's
that, let's
reverse engineer this. If you want to control more citizens,
have more controlling people in the
working for you.
Exactly. in the machine that is the controlling body of the country.
I pay your salary. You know what? I worked for the federal government.
Yeah.
I looked at them because I thought I was rich. Oh my God, I make $100,000 a year plus pension plus benefits, whatever. I'm like, I was like, oh yeah, the government is I love. I would defend them. I would turn a blind eye to everything that's going on around me. And what we had a stat on the last one where it was the number of government jobs has exploded. And
no wonder that fee's so big.
You know that they're redundant.
For sure.
You know that they're useless. You know that it's bureaucratic. You know that it's not streamlined at all. Mm-hmm. And yet they're still hiring more and more. And reverse engineer. The more people you want to control, there's so many ways to do it. That's
I have a hilarious anecdotal scenario here. So there's some work. I got some work going on a property. And every time there's a meeting, there's fucking 10 people. Okay? There's engineers. There's this person, there's this environment. So then I bring up a thing and I'm like, well, why don't you just do it this way? Right? Why don't you just go around and they're like, oh yeah, good point. But we'll have to confirm it with this person and then this person and this person and then this person and then this person. So I'm like, holy fuck, this is not a big deal, decision to make. This is a simple thing. You put a fucking wall here and it solves the problem that we're talking about, right? Put a wall and then that's it, okay? But then they're like, yeah, well, and we got to talk to this. We got to run it up to the, the Ontario, government, this and that. And I'm like, no wonder you guys can't get anything done. And then what happens? They send that little aspect of whatever we're talking about to an engineering firm, because apparently the engineers hired by the government are not capable of doing their engineering on this particular topic. So they have to hire a third-party engineering firm that just rapes them up the ass because obviously the government will pay them whatever. So then the engineering firm comes back 6 months later with the most bullshit report that confirms what I said in the first place. And then they got to come out and have another 4-hour meeting on the same shit to see if I'm okay with my suggestion that I wanted in the first place. It's unreal. It's honestly a fucking clown show.
Yeah.
It's honestly a circus.
So unless you sit back here and say, hey, you know what? I think we're going to really open up the markets here in Canada. I think we're really going to get rid of all these bureaucracies and just start streamlining things and get rid of zoning requirements and get rid of permits and just really make things more streamlined here. That's the only way prices and affordability is coming down.
Listen,
if you don't think that it's going to happen, prices are going up.
Listen, so I remember looking at property in Houston, Texas a while back. There was a couple properties I really wanted to get into. Hindsight, I wish I fucking would have, but whatever. So I remember talking to some of the agents because you always see, for example, people comparing, hey, look at what you get in Toronto versus like Texas, right? You ever see those like comparisons?
Yeah, all the time.
So I remember asking one of the agents there, being like, hey, like, why is that? And he literally said, because it's very easy to get things approved in Texas. We're very much pro, housing development, all that kind of stuff. We really scale back all of the red tape and bureaucracy down here. So what he said is, if you have like some sort of plot of land or whatever, and it's zoned already or, whatever, even if it's not zoned already, but if you have something, it's like literally 30 days and you got a shovel in the fucking ground. Here, like, forget it.
A year plus.
A year and a half. It's insane. So for everybody that is considering or sees those posts where there's like a comparison, Toronto versus Texas or whatever, that is why, people.
Yeah, don't look at Toronto versus Texas. Look at socialism versus capitalism.
100%.
That's it.
That is it.